isn't it? Right. So today's session is about tenses. So this session will give a brief idea about what are tenses. So we will talk about just simple tense today in this session. What are the different types of simple tense, how we use them. Okay children? So children, to begin with our session, let's quickly have a look at your screen. Okay?
So, there are mainly three types of simple tense. These are present simple tense, past simple tense and future simple tense. First, let's talk about present simple tense. Present simple tense tells us about what is currently happening, any action that happens regularly. Example, I live in USA, I am in class 10. So, basically these are the facts, also known as present simple tense. Okay. Next, past simple tense talks about what has already happened. Any action that has already happened in the past is known as past simple tense. For example, I lived in USA, I was in class 9 last year. So these are past event. That's why it is called as past simple tense. Coming to future simple tense talks about what will happen later in the future. Any action that will take place in the future. Okay. For example, I will live in USA. I will be in class 11th next year. So these are the events that will happen in the future. Is also known as future simple tense. Understand children? So there are mainly three types of simple tense: present simple, past simple, future simple.
So these were the three types of tenses. Now first let's talk about present simple tense. Okay, let's have a look at your screen.
So what is a present simple tense? A verb tense that expresses action in the present time, habitual action or general truth. Any action which talks about present action, that action that takes place in the present moment, is a present simple. You can also say present simple tense talks about your routine activity, daily routine or habitual action, something that you do every time. General truth means something which is a fact. Understand? Now let's take an example. Expresses action in the habitual. For example, I go to school every day. It's a routine action, isn't it? So it's an example of present simple tense. Expresses general truth, something which is a fact. The sun rises in the east. It's a fact, right? So it's also an example of present simple tense. Expresses action in the general time. Any action that talks in general, okay, that happens in general. I work in a factory is also an example of present simple tense. So present simple tense talks about action that happens in the present moment, when an action exists or happen regularly, and then a state that exists at the moment or that expresses a general truth or a fact. Anything which is a fact, which is a routine or habitual action, is a present simple tense. Understand children? So we use present simple tense to talk about our daily routine. We use it to talk about facts. We use it to talk about general time. Understand? So these actions are used to talk about present simple tense, children. Examples you can see on your screen. The present simple tense is used to describe habits, unchanging situation, general truth and fixed arrangements. First, when we talk about affirmative, that means a positive sentence says I run fast. If I have to change the same statement into negative, I will say I don't run fast. Then same thing, if I have to say it into a question, I would say do I run fast? Children, I know that we all have done this last year, isn't it? You all have these in your activity book with the rules, right? So this is just a recap of what we have learned last year about tenses. Now again the next example says you run fast. If it's in negative, you don't run fast. And in the question, do you run fast? When it comes to he runs fast, he doesn't run fast. Does he run fast? We all have studied these things last year, children. So I'm just giving you a recap so that before we go into our lessons, we can understand.
Now let's talk about past simple tense. So children, again, look at your screen for that.
Moving on to the next, let's talk about past simple tense. It is used to talk about actions that happened at a specific time in the past. So you form the past simple of a verb by adding ed onto the end of a regular verb, but irregular verb forms have to be learned. So now, past simple tense is used for actions that happened or existed at some point of time in the past. Any action that has already happened in the past. Okay, we use past simple tense for that. So we also use the past simple tense for action that tells us of some past habit that we have done. Example, you can say the king visited the temple every day. As usual, we had our dinner early. These are past actions that shows our past habits. Okay. When we talk about past habits, we use words such as generally, always, often, usually, every day, and sometimes with the past simple tense. Okay, children, you have to remember this. Again, I'll repeat. When we talk about past habits, we use words such as generally, often, usually, every day, always, sometimes. Okay. And we use ed at the end of a regular verb. For example, allow becomes allowed, listen becomes listened, call becomes called, play becomes played. And we have irregular verbs also, sleep, slept. Okay. So here are some examples of past simple tense on your screen. If it is a positive sentence or affirmative sentence, we say I lived in London. If it is negative, it becomes I did not live in London. In interrogative, it becomes did I live in London? Children, I believe you all have this in your activity book, isn't it? We have done last year, right? With the examples. Let's take one more example now. You lived in London. You did not live in London for negative. And did you live in London for interrogative? Let's take one more example. He lived in London. If it's negative, it becomes he did not live in London. Interrogative, did he live in London? So interrogative means asking questions. Okay, children. So these are the different types of examples of past simple tense on your screen. You can practice them at home. Okay. Let's take one more example. They lived in London. They did not live in London. Did they live in London? These are all very easy examples. You can use these examples and practice it in your rough notebook. I'll be giving you some exercises also based on this past simple tense. Okay, children, did you understand? It's very easy, right? And simple also. We all have done it last year. These are just a recap of what we have learned the previous year, isn't it? I hope you are getting it, children. Now let's move on.
Now the last simple tense, that is future simple tense. So what is a future simple tense? Let's have a look at it.
Let's talk about now future tense. So what is simple future tense? Simple future tense is used for indicating those actions that we think will happen in the future. In other words, we predict the future. So whenever we predict future actions, it is known as simple future tense. We use simple future tense for action that will take place in the future time to come, that is in the future. Okay. And we always use will or shall for future simple tense. For example, I shall complete my project this week. The birds will drink this water in the morning. These are just simple examples of future simple tense. So once again I am telling you, we use future simple tense to talk about actions that will take place in the future, or we predict an action in the future. Okay. And we use will or shall when we talk about future simple tense. Okay. We use we with shall, I with shall, and we use will with I, you, we, they, I, you, they, he, it. Okay, children. So this is a simple future tense. It talks about actions that will happen in the future. Okay. It's a very easy topic and very nice to understand that simple future tense is used for the actions that happens in the future. We'll quickly have a look at the examples of future simple tense. Let's have a look Now affirmative, negative, interrogative and interrogative negative questions. Let's see. I will come, it's a positive sentence. I will not come, it's a negative sentence. Will I come in is a interrogative question. If I have to change it to interrogative question, we say won't I come in? Understand, children? Will not can also be written as won't. Shall not can also be written as shan't. This also we have done it last year, isn't it, children? Very easy, right? Let's take one more example. He will come, he will not come, will he come in? And if it is interrogative negative question, we'll say won't he come in. Right, children? Let's take one more example. It will come. In negative, it will not come. In interrogative, will it come in? In interrogative negative question, won't it come in? Now quickly have a review of what we have learned today. Present, past, future simple tense. In the present, if I say I write, in the past I will say I wrote, and in the future I will say I will write. Same, he writes becomes he wrote, and he will write for the future. If in the question do I write, in the past simple it becomes did I write, and in the future it becomes will I write. Present simple says does he write, simple past says did he write, and the future becomes will he write. Understand, children? Negative for present it says I don't write, past simple says I didn't write, and future says I won't write. Similarly for present simple negative it says he doesn't write, past he says he didn't write, and future he says he won't write. These are the tenses of present simple, past simple and future simple. Okay, very easy, isn't it?
Children, I hope you have understood today's session. What are the simple tenses and how we use them. Okay, if you have any doubt regarding this session, please get back to me during the interactive classes. I will clear your doubts there. Okay, also I'll send you some exercises based on this topic. Please do it in your homework book. See you soon, children. Have a nice day.